Here we are back here at Headingley. Second half not quite underway, but England ahead by 16 points to 0. And there's Phil Clark, who had a good opening 40 minutes for England, but the overall performance well below par. And I thought I saw a possible substitute there, Alec, coming out early in the second half.
Well, I think the biggest problem what we're going to have is what Phil Lardard has actually said to the lads at half-time, because he cannot be happy with his performances. There's some very, very ordinary performances. The three-quarter line has looked a little bit indecisive, and he has brought a substitution on. He's brought Dean Sampson on. The problem is now is, can England pick the tempo up? They look as though they've been playing in snatches. They've not played with any flair, and really, against a side like South Africa, you'd just expect that.
Well, things can only get better, realistically, whichever way you look at it, performance-wise, scoreline-wise. 16 points to 0. And Paul Broadbent on, so both prop forwards have been taken off, of course, in the first half. Andy Platt and Karl Harrison off, the two subs on, Dean Sampson and Paul Broadbent. So there is an indication he's not been happy.
Well, I don't think you can look at the two prop forwards as the problem. I think we've had a problem where we have, at the half-back position, apart from Bobby Goulding, DARYL Powell, who every time he gets the ball, turns the ball back inside. Martin Offiah is not running with the ball. We've got no penetration from the centres. And really, that's where we're having the problems.
Are you surprised in that case, then, why he hasn't brought on Tony Smith?
Well, I am. I'm surprised he's not brought somebody on who can break the middle, because what we're doing, every time we get the ball, instead of going out to the wings for running chances, we're turning the ball back inside.
We're in the second half, England ahead, 16 points to 0. Cassidy doing the tackling, South Africa in possession, trying desperately to get themselves back into this game.
I think when Bobby Fulton has a look at this match tonight, he'll sleep a little bit easier.
Phil Lardard might have a nightmare. There's Cook, the local lad. That could perk England up if he could go in for a try, because he's quite capable of producing the goods.
Well, I think what we've got to do is start supporting, playing the basics. I mean, it's a long, long time since I've heard an English side booed off the field, which England would at half-time.
Well, that's exactly what happened. Cassidy. But as soon as the gap appears, it's closed very quickly, and the prop forward, it looks like JACO BOOYSEN, who's had a good game, I think, for South Africa. There he is again, he got the tackling, but the ball came away from Powell on that occasion. But I've been impressed by the prop forward. His work rate's been pretty good.
Well, I'll tell you what, you might be impressed by the prop forward, but some of these supporters are certainly not impressed with some of the play of England. It's very, very poor. It's lackadaisical, and nobody seems to want to run with the ball, and that is the problem.
Martin Offiah with a high tackle on Pierre Van Wyk. He took it well, though. Offiah again, helped by his Wigan colleague, BJ Mather.
Things must be getting very bad if Martin's doing two tackles on the run.
And that's a dreadful error.
And this is the position where England really should be creating things. They should be putting little moves on. Against South Africa, I think they're not the best side in the world. And really, England should be rehearsing all the moves. This is a simple mistake, taking your eye off the ball and putting it to ground.
Well, there literally is no real excuse for that at all whatsoever. Francois Cloete, it was the player who knocked on, and Powell now delivers on the outside towards Rudlinski to Mather caught, and that's a good tackle which came in from TIM FOURIE. Pinkney got one try in the first half, looking for his second of the game. Cassidy goes to acting half-back this time. Goulding involved as always, runs across the line, great delivery, and it was Chris Joynt who was the player on the receiving end of the pass, but it wasn't taken.
And again, you've got to put that down as a chance that's gone begging, because Bobby Goulding put Chris Joynt through the gap, took his eye off the ball, and really, you've got to put them chances away at this level.
Not a lot going right for England tonight, but they do lead 16 points to 0. 3 tries in the opening 40 from Pinkney, Horton and Goulding, and 2 goals as well coming from Bobby Goulding. But it hasn't been a performance to set the crowd alight here at Headingley.
I think what we're seeing from England is one-man football. I think it's people who want to score on their own instead of playing this game as a team game, because South Africa are making quite a lot of mistakes and giving England possession back quite easily.
Well, we saw the Fijians put 56 points past South Africa. Australia put 86 points past them.
And here again is a basic mistake, and it's the same man again. Take your eye off the ball, and every time it will go to ground.
Francois Cloutey not having an impressive performance for South Africa. Powell, long ball this time, thrown out to Rydlinski. Can he get England on the move? And there at last comes Martin Afire. He offloads to Pinkney. Pinkney twisting, jinking run from Pinkney. And he's nailed just before he can create any real danger, but there now goes Goulding. Got the delivery from Cassidy. Out to Clark. Clark to Rydlinski. Cook might squeeze in at the corner. The cover's good though from the Rhinos. And it's Clark again. Horton. They're mighty close to another score here, England.
I think England really, from these positions, really should be scoring tries. We've got to move the ball out wider.
That's not a good pass, and Powell had to stop and backtrack, but the ball inside, and it's a substitute who's going to score, Dean Sampson, and that may well be his first touch of the ball. It's certainly his first piece of action, and what a way to start it with a try for your country.
Well, that's a great try, and not only a great try, it's just a try with basic football. And again, the ball came back inside from DARYL Powell. Really, the play broke down, and there is a problem with that. Again, an individual try. It was a bad pass. It was going nowhere. Powell just sees the gap, and he just runs into the gap. That was a very, very good try. I think Sampson liked that.
It's not a bad way to start, is it?
Not really. I think we've got to be a little bit better than what we're doing. We're not creating too many chances, and it's basic football.
And it's a basic conversion as well, which is knocked over by Bobby Goulding. 3 kicks now for him. He got a try as well in the first half, but there's the latest try scorer, Dean Sampson. And the scoreline now moves on to 22, a lot healthier.
And again, it's a simple ball out here. It's really a bad ball. It's going nowhere. Powell just sees the gap and turns the ball back inside to Sampson, who takes it at full tilt. There's no problem. He wants to score, and he does. He's saying to himself there when he puts the ball down, he's number one. I think he might mean that is the first try he scored. He'll remember this try for the rest of his life. Nobody's going to stop him, and he does it well.
It might mean it's the first time he's touched the ball as well. Great score for Sampson, 22 points to 0. This is a touch better now from England, but that isn't, that's dreadful. DARYL Powell is not having a good game, and you can see he's unhappy.
Well, he should be unhappy and all, because this is the very, very basics. This is the simplest mistake, taking your eye off the ball. I mean, what you've got to worry about is, should professional players make mistakes like that?
Handling errors, 14 made now by England. That's not a good statistic. It doesn't make good reading. Here comes South Africa. It's with the substitute. Jennings trying to inch his way ever closer towards that England try line. Well, they've been in this situation, in this position before, South Africa. Haven't really looked like making the breakthrough so far. They've got to spin the ball out wide, surely, to have any chance at all. There it comes, back to the standoff half. Mark Johnson, he's been very, very quiet. And he's wrapped up immediately as England break out very quickly to cover the danger area. Guy Kume heading for the corner, turns it back inside. Good passage of play this from South Africa. It's with the prop forward, JACO BOOYSEN.
Well, I think JACO BOOYSEN only knows one way to go. He's a big, strong man, and obviously when he gets the ball, he just takes it up straight.
Rydlinski. And this lad is capable of breaking the line from deep, especially in those situations. Just a reminder that John Bentley went off with an injury in the first half. First piece of the action for the other replacement prop as well. That's Paul Broadbent.
And I think he'll be quite happy if he can score a try like he did against Fiji the other night. It was fully 60 yards and had a lot of class about him. And there's Phil Clark again. He's really running with a lot of pace and a lot of force.
Sampson. He's eager to impress, and I think we've had a substitute on as well. I thought I caught a glimpse of Tony Smith there in the build-up. Here's Goulding. Out it comes across to Horton.
Well, he's still got Powell on the field. He's just looking at the back here, so maybe any time now.
Goulding tried the chip kick, didn't come off, but it might be a bonus for England because Clark with the delivery. Cook. The crowd are urging him to score, but that's a good tackle from the winger, Andrew Ballack.
But again, we're hesitating when we get the ball. Surely we've got to run forward with the ball. We've got to take the chance. I mean, that's bad play from Sampson. We've got to move this ball out and surely run to the line.
Well, that's the line. Out it comes again. Cross kick from Goulding. And that's well taken again by Guy Kume, under some pressure.
Well, I think they scored against that in the last game against Fiji with that kick of Bobby Goulding, but I think it was a little bit short. The ball was over the line and well taken by the South African.
And South Africa in possession, not making a lot of progress so far. That's Willem Boshoff. That was casual at best.
Well, that looked like a little lad out of the park on a Sunday afternoon, didn't he? He looked as though he had no idea what he was going to do.
Joko Visser with the delivery. That was very casual, to say the least.
Yes, and he's caught him offside, and that again is bad play from England. That was the fourth tackle. South African going nowhere, and a silly penalty for offside.
Well, the ball's going somewhere now from the penalty kick. Gerald Williams back on. Rhinos take it up again. Francois Cloutez plays the ball quickly. Again, the action from the play the ball, it's, well, nonchalant, I think is the word. But the Rhinos have lost possession.
I think the problem is that England really don't look alert. I mean, a lot of the supporters on the ground are getting very, very frustrated with England. It's looking very ordinary indeed.
BJ Mather steps into a massive gap. This is better from England. BJ Mather, he's got Martin Offiah in support. Surely this is a moment for Offiah. He's going down in that corner and he's failed to get in there. Great cover tackle from the South Africans. But really, Martin Offiah, it's not very often he gets caught, but he was. But still a chance now for England. Daryl Powell darts right between the posts, but he's held down and hauled down a couple of metres short. Goulding again takes over. Thought about going into lawn. Exchanged passes with Clark. It's Pinkney, picks up on the 20-metre.
And you've got to ask yourself a question. When did you last see Martin Offiah caught like that from behind? All he had to do was run to the line, and he got well and truly caught. That is a searching try, and that makes me to ask the question, is Martin Offiah fit?
Well, England are certainly trying to get themselves in a healthier position.
I think the supporters here, it'll be interesting to see that, if we could see that on playback, whether Martin Offiah is running freely. I mean, Barry John Mather, all he had to do was give him the ball, he gave it him in the right place, he'd nothing to do when he run to the line, and again, he got tackled from behind. Have a look at this and make your own minds up. Is he running full out? Is he running to the line? And that's a great tackle from the wingman, but again, should Martin Offiah have scored?
Well, it's not very often he gets caught, there's no doubt about that. And just looking at the replay, I thought Barry John Mather could well have been striding away himself from the covering defenders.
Well, maybe he was trying to give Martin Offiah the confidence he needs, because at this moment in time, he must be very, very low on confidence.
Well, South Africa have got possession. They're trying to move the ball again away from their own danger area. It's with the fullback, Pierre van Wyk, who's probably been the best player on the night so far. And another chance goes begging for England. And another chance for Martin Offiah to open his World Cup account.
I think South Africa will be quite pleased with his performance, because, you know, they've never looked like scoring, and England's had 100 chances and probably put 99 down.
Well, there's the man again of the moment, Martin Offiah. The ball played into the arms of Chris Rudlinski. Well, that's a good chase from the South Africans. They've nailed Rudlinski. And Martin Offiah, hopefully, will produce the goods, but not like that.
Well, I think that tells you what the crowd think about it. I mean, really, Martin Offiah must be going through torture out there, and there's another basic mistake from England.
Well, it's been scrappy and untidy. England still ahead 22 points to nil, 52 minutes gone.
I think after the game, I think Phil Larder will just say, right, lads, let's come down from cloud nine and let's get back to the drawing board.
Goulding is there, so too is Sampson. You can see the line, it's not very far away for South Africa. Only needs one mistake and they've created an overlap. South Africa, oh, brilliant tackle in the end. That was Nick Pinkney really earning his coin there. That was a try-saving tackle, and it's the 6th and changeover, I think.
And I think it was a try-saving tackle, and also PINKNEY did very, very well there. That was a try all the way for South Africa, and really, when you think that they've been on the rack for the last 40 minutes, again, this is a great tackle, turning his back on the opponent, but that's a great tackle and a great try-saving tackle.
He did have support there, South Africa. If the ball had come out, it could have been maybe a 4-pointer for the Rhinos, but it didn't. And the scrum, it wasn't the 6th tackle. There goes BJ Mather. Martin Afire traps the ball soccer style, collects it like a goalkeeper, and it wasn't a good ball on that occasion from BJ Mather, to be fair.
We have got the problem also, and a lot of people are asking the question, is Barry John Mather a centre? Has he got the best pair of hands to play outside Martin Afire? There's all kind of questions to be asked. The only problem is nobody's solving them. We have got a massive problem if we don't get Gary Connolly back for the semi-finals.
Well, Gary Connolly watched the game at Huddersfield this afternoon. Don't know if that's a good sign and if he's close to fitness. But there is Simon Horton to his Wigan colleague Cassidy, who tried to offload. Not the best option perhaps he could have chosen.
Well, I think young Cassidy in the last 2 occasions have made 2 very, very basic mistakes. Maybe some of these lads are trying a little bit too hard, but surely England are going to have to control the ball a little bit better than what they're doing if they hope to progress any further in this competition.
Well, it'll be interesting to get the thoughts of Bobby Fulton on this performance, and in fact, even maybe the New Zealand coach and Graham Lowe from Western Samoa from that point of view.
Well, on this showing, there's got to be a lot of improvements all the way around, because this is a very, very, very ordinary performance, because Australia, well, against Australia, I think we need to up this game another 60%.
They've got possession in a very good position to set up an attack and maybe have a real goal now. It's Goulding to pump the ball over the touchline. 55 gone second half, 22-0 England lead.
And when you think about this game, really South Africa have offered very, very little in the art of attack. They've tackled well, they've tried hard, but nothing more than that. And England really should be taking sides like this to the cleaners.
Goulding. Powell. Joint comes on the burst. Still a good field position being worked here by England.
I think Phil Clark has looked the better of the forwards. He's looked very alert and very, very sharp.
Goulding across there, and in comes PINKNEY, and there goes BJ Mather. That's a tremendous tackle from Mark Johnson, who spotted the danger, read the situation brilliantly there for the Rhinos. And England are going to go in. That's a try. And a good one, which came from Tony Smith.
No, it came from Paul Broadbent.
Paul Broadbent. Paul Broadbent, the try scorer.
Yes, I think you just took the ball. His number was shielded from you, but it was Broadbent. Again, 2 tries in 2 matches. The lad will be very, very happy about it. But again, just a sloppy try. Look, nothing on. The South Africans backed off him, and Broadbent strong, big, and just as the rest. I mean, you don't expect sides to score from this position, especially when you're defending. Not good defence from South Africa. Broadbent shows them the ball. He was more surprised than anybody else.
Well, he managed to make it in the end. And 2 substitutions have come up trumps for England in the second half. Dean Sampson, the other prop forward, of course, and Paul Broadbent crashing over there for England, has left Bobby Goulding with a comfortable conversion, which he duly pops between the posts.
And I think also when we have a look at the next game, which comes up very, very quickly, what Phil Larder's going to do and what kind of a side he's going to pick, because the problem he's got now is, here we see the try again. Again, it's very, very ordinary defensive play, isn't it? Broadbent doesn't look as though he's going anywhere. The South Africans lay off him, and he goes over for a simple try.
Well, they practically created a gap themselves there, the Rhinos, for Broadbent to run into, and he accepted it to touch down fairly comfortably.
I think what we've got to look at now is, I mean, all the people who are watching this on live TV, and there's a lot of people around the Wigan and Lee area, all them areas around there, they'll be looking at this game because there's a lot of good judges around that area, and they'll not be too pleased about this neither. But keep watching it on live TV.
Powell with a point to prove, according to Alex Murphy, and as many would agree with him. Broadbent, the try scorer.
I would like to see somebody in that 6th spot with a little bit more pace. He's a very, very good football player, young Powell, but I just think at this level he lacks a yard in pace.
There's Phil Clark, who doesn't like anything in commitment either, and great pace as well from Phil Clark. Cassidy to Goulding. Goulding trying to work a bit of magic for England. Rudlinski linking up from the full-back position. I don't think Paul Cook's had a decent pass since he went out onto that wing, Alex.
Well, I think if Paul Cook had had the same running chances as Martin Offiah, we could have been looking at 4 or 5 tries.
More defensive work for South Africa to do to clear the danger area. Van Wyk charges forward but doesn't make a lot of progress.
No, and I think South Africa, they're just honest endeavour, nothing more than that. They're just taking the ball forward. They look very light on skills, and really they're just competing and staying in there.
We're coming up to 60 minutes on the clock here for Headingley. And we'll have to wait and see if South Africa maybe will capitulate, as the Fijians did a touch this afternoon at Huddersfield.
There's plenty of improvement for it, and I think it's 50 points. It wouldn't be the best score in the world, but surely it will be a lot better than the score at the moment.
Martin Offiah. And he's been booed, Martin Offiah, by a lot of the supporters here at Headingley. Turned the ball inside to Rudlinski. He
certainly doesn't look as though he's running on all power, does he? He looks as though he's a little bit timid when he gets the ball. He's certainly not running with a lot of confidence.
He is. That's Sampson. Came on, scored a try, and has looked impressive.
Yes, they have. Both props have looked very, very good. And like I said, we're doing a lot of things right.
That wasn't one of them, unfortunately, Phil Clark. That was a touch of misfortune there. It was good handling skills, and all of a sudden, when he thought Mather was on his shoulder, he'd just gone past him.
But overrunning the ball again, and this is bad play at this level. Clark, he's made the gap. Barry John Mather, one hand, don't overrun the ball. He's got no need to do that. All he's got to do is stay another yard behind. I'm not saying it was the best pass in the world, but I think he should have scored off it.
Is this criticism what we've heard from the spectators fair to Martin Offiah?
Well, Alex? I think the spectators are paying the wages, they're paying the money to go on the field, they're giving their opinion. And there's one good thing about the English supporters, they only speak the truth, they don't hold any grudges. They are judging Martin Offiah on what they're saying. On this performance, a lot of people are saying, should he even be in the side?
Well, somebody's changing the shirt on the Rhinos team.
Well, he's a big lad and all. I bet there's not 2 of them in a pound, is he? He's a big fella, isn't he?
I think it's a loose forward in actual fact. Problem there. And he's got a problem to get the shirt over his shoulder pads.
Well, he's certainly a very, very big man. He looks...
In he goes. And out it comes. South Africa in possession. Just over the midway stage in the second half. England ahead 28 points to 0. But still striving to put really a good spell of rugby league together to bring the crowd to its feet.
I would think the only good news we'd have about this is that it is 0, but South Africa have never really looked like creating a chance of scoring a try. And really, England have got to worry about this because they're going to find it very difficult to come to the top of the form again. They've had 2 good results, and this has got to be put down as not one of the very best.
And all the tries which have been scored so far by Phil Larder's team have come really from solo individual efforts rather than a lot of well-built-up team play.
No, we've not had a lot of great team performance. We've not had a lot of support. We've been individual tries, and I think he'll be disappointed with that.
There goes Pinkney, though. He could change all that. Nick Pinkney, is he going to be caught? He isn't going to be caught. That will bring Headingley to its feet. Pinkney goes in after a 60-yard dash. It's his second of the night, and let's hope that turns the fortunes England's way.
Well, we have just been talking about individual tries, and when you talk about individual tries, you won't see any better than this. This was a fine solo effort. The kid had to score this try. He knew he's been disappointed with 1 or 2 chances early on, but once he got in the open, nobody on this ground was going to take him. This is one tremendous try. It needed scoring this. He's got fellas with a lot of pace behind him, but Pinkney also has got plenty pace. He'll be very, very happy with that indeed.
It's his second of the night.
Well, just watch where he picks the play up from. Jack, it's a tremendous play here. He knows once he's got on the outside, this kid has got some pace. And one good thing what he has done, he's decided if nobody else wants to run to the line, he certainly is going to run there. That's what it's all about. He'll be proud of that, and that's a great try.
He's getting well-deserved applause from a very large crowd at Headingley. And Goulding is preparing to kick his 5th goal of the evening. And the game is taking a similar pattern to the one this afternoon, which took place at Huddersfield, when Australia took some time to find the feet. No problems for Goulding, his 5th of the evening. Nick Pinkney with his 2nd try of the evening.
And there's a very, very happy man. 64 minutes gone and 2 tries for Nick Pinkney. Now, I think he'll be happy about this. He definitely knows as soon as he picks the ball up, he can see the gap, and once he's through the cover, he knows he's got a chance. He pins his ears back, he goes, he stretches out. There's not many going to pull him back from this. This is one of the great tries. It needed some scoring, and he does it in style. Lovely stride, isn't he? He's got a lovely action, the kid. He knows, he's quite happy. This is his debut, you know, he'll be a little bit nervous. This is his 2nd try for England, and I think he'll be very proud of this. This is a great effort, and when he puts the video on tonight, he'll replay that about 100 times.
And why not? It's a great moment for the youngster. And let's hope there's more moments like that to come. Phil Clark in possession for England.
Yeah,
he's led the charge all evening, Phil Clark, there's no doubt about that.
I think that's one of the first mistakes Phil's made. He's had a very, very good game. I think he's led by example, and he's run well. He looks sharp tonight. He's had a bit of a problem with a finger problem, which doesn't seem to bother him tonight. He's had an excellent game.
South Africa make another substitution. ELMAR LUBBE comes on, and they're in possession from the scrum. Tackle which came in very quickly.
I think England will be very pleased now just to keep them out, won't they? They want a clean sheet. They've not played exceptionally well, and to keep them down to 0 will at least give a little bit of pleasure to Phil Larder. There's not too much he can too happy about, but he will be happy if they keep a clean sheet.
Rydlinski and Horton just happy to play with the percentages deep in his own half of the field and keep possession. The big men can maybe clear a route forward.
Well, I think now is the time, you know, Tony Smith is on now, and I think now is the time to move the ball outside wide for a fire. And if he wants a running chance, let's give him a running chance, and let's see whether he can run the full length of the field.
Well, it's a great sight if we can hopefully get the chance to see it.
Well, I think he'll want to score a try, because one thing he does thrive on is confidence, and he does thrive on scoring tries.
Rydlinski. And that was an important tackle on Chris Rydlinski. There's 1 or 2 tired bodies out there now, I think, on the South African team. Well, that was a superb catch from Pierre van Wyk.
Yeah, he's a good little player, this lad. He's a great competitor. He's involved, he's lively, he's on his toes all the time, and even when he's on his backside, then he took it.
The crowd liked it as well. Joint doing the tackling for England. They're ahead 34 points to 0. 66 minutes gone in the 2nd half. And England perhaps just resting on their laurels temporarily.
And who'd have thought that this, if it does remain this way, that this is the least score that South Africa have been beaten with. And obviously the favourites, England, at this moment in time, they've shortened the odd from Australia. The 2nd favourites, I think it's 11-8 Australia on, and 6-4 England.
And here come England again, and that's Paul Cook.
And if he scored, I think they'd lift the roof off this ground.
Well, don't bank against it, because ordinarily he only needs one opportunity. Cook getting rapturous applause from his crowd here at Leeds. Plays for the Leeds club, of course.
I just think we're lacking a little bit of support play. We're just not supporting the man with the ball. I think what we've got to do is surely do the basics right.
Smith. Cassidy again goes to that dummy half position. Onto his Wigan teammate Horton. Horton pushing players off, and the ball's been spilled. That was a pity. But South Africa in possession, and they've now lost possession.
Again, I think young Simon Orton would have been better keeping hold of that ball. He'd done all the work, he'd done the gap, he'd made the gap, and maybe he's a little bit too keen to offload the ball. I think in that position, it'd have been better just sticking hold.
Went for the glory, I think. We've got a stoppage in play while the South African player has treatment.
And you can't complain about that. 61% of possession for England. We must have made a lot of mistakes because really we've created plenty of chances. And I think when people get the paper tomorrow, they'll think, what kind of a game's this been?
South Africa goes off for treatment. That's Tim Fourie, a big lad.
I think what Tony Fisher's doing now is giving everybody a game. There's some lads who've come over from South Africa, they've not played before, and he's saying, well, this is going to be the last game in the tournament for you lads. Go on and enjoy yourself.
Goulding to feed the scrum. Smith. Just lost his footing. Clark.
See again, Phil Clark's got the ball, but there's no support on either side. Really, we're lacking with men, and all we've got to do is take the ball forward and support the man with the ball. But it's individual football, and surely Phil Larder will not be happy with this.
Cassidy's got a knock in the tackle.
And that doesn't look too good, does it, for young Mick Cassidy? It looks as though he's got a knock at the bottom of his back there. It might have been a stray boot.
We've already had a pretty troublesome injury. John Bentley in the first half, of course, going off with a hamstring strain. That caused something of a reshuffle, with Chris Radlinski coming on into the full-back position, Cook going on the wing. And England can do without worrying injuries.
We've just give the crowd out on here, Jack, now, and looking at the crowd. This is Cassidy taking the ball forward. He just looked as though he got a stray boot or maybe a knock. They give the crowd at 14,000. It certainly looks a few more than that on here to me.
South Africa in possession because, again, some sloppy approach play from England. They spilled it. South Africa pick it up now. And they're not frightened to give the ball plenty of air. I suppose that's the only thing to do. 10 minutes to go.
I think the South Africans have really just competed. I don't think they know any other way to play. They're just taking the ball forward. The basic skills are lacking throughout the side, but they've given them effort 9 out of 10 for trying.
14,041 the attendance and 34-0 the score, and South Africa making some good progress down that left-hand side. That's Watts, and that's the last tackle and the changeover.
And again, that little lack of experience, isn't it? The sixth tackle, not knowing it's the sixth tackle and driving the ball in. But really, England, they do look a little bit, well, 6s and 7s to say the least. They don't really, they're lacking a leader, they're lacking confidence, and really this has not been one of the best performances.
Sampson, a second half try scorer, getting the treatment from his opposite number, but Phil Clark, I think he's been the star of the show, and there he goes again. He's brushed off a couple of challenges. Radlinski is going to go in, is he, for England? Will he get caught? It's a race to the line, and Radlinski wins it. All credit to Phil Clark. But the Wigan youngster gets his second England try of the week, and Phil Clark once more was at the hub of the action.
Well, not only did he make the try, Phil Clark, he's definitely my man of the match by a mile. He's had a magnificent game of rugby league. He's led by example. He ran through the gap, he made the gap, he made the try, and Radlinski in support. One good thing about this kid, when he gets the ball near that line, there's only one way he's going to go. Beautiful play from Clarkey, lovely ball to Radlinski. The guy plays on the wing, the guy's got pace, the guy's got class, and that is a magnificent try.
Well, I don't think you get many arguments, Alex, about the man of the match. Phil Clark has been very, very impressive. It's been a top performance from him tonight.
Well, it has actually, and I think that's what the crowd needed, because they have been a little bit scathing in their criticism. I know people keep saying you shouldn't criticise them when they do things wrong, but these are professional players. This guy has had a magnificent game. This is a great break. He knows when to release the ball. He looks inside, he releases the ball at the right time. Radlinski flies onto this ball and he hits it at pace. Just look at the man's face. He knows that is a great try.
And what a career he's got in front of him, what a career he's had already.
Well, look at Phil Clark here, determination, but what's this young man, 19 years of age, what potential there is in this fella. Where did he dig him up from? This is another kid come on the assembly line from Wigan, and he's doing him proud.
And let's not forget, this time last year, or thereabouts, we just about started to hear about Chris Radlinski. He was just beginning to emerge.
Well, I think he can certainly say he's emerged now, and so is this lad, young Simon Orton. I think the Wigan connection actually have done themselves proud. Phil Clark, for me, the man of the match by a mile, followed closely by young Radlinski.
40 points to 0, 7 minutes left. And TIM FOURIE is now back on. And the referee holds up play again for another infringement.
And again, you know, you've got to worry about it. It is a basic mistake on the second tackle. I think when Phil Lardner has a look at this video, I think if he wants England to play well in the next match, all he's got to do is show them this.
And the next match will, of course, be the semi-final. England will play the winners of the game tomorrow night, which you can see live here. That's Wales against Western Samoa, and that really is a game which myself and Alex Murphy are looking forward to. There's no doubt about that. That's one that really does whet the appetite.
And I think what you've got to realise is you can see it live on live TV, and if you can't go to the match, get round to the pubs or get round to the television sets and watch it with us.
And I don't think you can go to the match unless you've got a ticket already, because I believe it's a sellout. That's down at the Vetchfield, Swansea, tomorrow night. Don't miss that.
Well, I think there's plenty of room in one or two of the pubs around Wigan and Leigh. You know, I don't think they'll have plenty of vacancies. So for the people who do want to watch the match and they can't get a ticket, watch it with us live.
England almost double the handling errors of South Africa. I know that you're not a lover of statistics, but that's an interesting one.
Yes, it is, and actually it's not a very, very good thing, is it?
The chess is on again here. England could help themselves. Tony Smith racing for the line. Is he going to score? Yes! Smith, another substitute and another try scorer for England. Look at the delight on his face.
Well, you've also got to say is the substitution should have been sooner. This kid had a very, very good game against Fiji. He has got that little bit extra pace. I know there's been something about he's got a problem with his knee. The kid looks as though he's all right to me. He ran well for the ball. It was a great chase. And don't forget this, he was running marching fires at the other side of him, and he gets to the ball first. A good try. He has to keep his eye on the ball. It takes some scoring, and he does it with style.
Well, England are beginning to do exactly what what Australia did earlier on this afternoon at Huddersfield.
A lovely little chip from Bobby Goulding. The little man's been in everything. He also has had a great game. Tony Smith, soccer skills, he does it well, doesn't he? He likes that.
And there goes the formality of another 2 points. That's 7 goals for Goulding. He got a try as well in the first half, remember, so he's got an 18-point personal haul tonight. And Tony Smith is another substitute who's been another scorer.
Yes, and here we have again a lovely little chip from Goulding. Sees the fullbacks out of position. Tony Smith spots it. He knows he's going to be up there. Slips it over the line, picks it up, try.
6 points in the bag once more.
It's important what Bobby Goulding does, isn't he, when he gets the ball? Look at that. He knows the South Africans are coming up quick. He knows there's a gap behind. He puts it in the space, and Tony Smith has no problem just to dribble it to the line and do the rest.
Well, that's 4 substitutes who've scored now for England. They've got 8 tries in total. Dean Sampson, Paul Broadbent, Chris Radlinski and Tony Smith. Yes,
and I think Nick Pinckney has just scored a very, very good try, but when he looks back at the video, he won't want to see this last comedy of errors. This is a bad mistake off the kick-off, and the ball has gone into touch in South Africa at head and feed. I suppose we can forgive England for one of the performance, can't we? We can actually say, well, you're entitled to dip a little bit more. We know you're in the semi-final. I think South Africa are going to run this ball.
Well, they're going to enjoy the last few moments of World Cup glory. We've got 3 minutes to go to the hooter.
Yeah, and Phil Lardner will want to keep them out here. It's important that they keep a clean sheet.
And England, of course, will join Australia and New Zealand in the semi-finals. That 4th spot to be decided tomorrow night down at the Vetch. And England in possession with Sampson.
And again, when it matters, lacking an idea, South Africa, you've got to really worry about whether they should be in this competition or not. But the only good thing I will say about it, maybe in 5, 6, 7 years' time, there'll be a different South Africa. It's important that they're in rugby league, and once they get used to it.
Martin Afire has not had a happy evening, and he got a blow there to the head It was a South African coming in at second man, and South Africa have the ball and possession. The referee is not happy about something.
Well, you've got to worry about this fella, haven't you? I mean, look at his performance. I mean, it's bad enough he's not running with the ball, but surely he can hold the ball when he's going into a tackle. I think what we've got to start worrying about one or two of these players is that they believe in their own publicity.
Well, that was an Alex Murphy feed, wasn't it? Little chip kick comes in, a fire is there. And in fairness to the winger on that occasion, he judged it well. He was in just the right place at exactly the right time.
Yes, he read the kick and he was there. I mean, you expect professional players to read this game, and if they can't do anything else, there's nothing to stop them doing that.
I think one or two of the England players, Alex, will be glad to hear the final hooter now.
Yes, and I think they'll want to forget about this game. It's not been one of the very, very best performances. They've had some great individual performances. One or two of the lads have come out with a bit of credit. Phil Clark, Pinkney, Bobby Goulding have had very good games, and I think from them we'll have to worry.
Clark again in the action, Radlinski. Well, he threw it back to Willem Boshoff.
Yeah, and that's the first mistake young Radlinski's made. I think he also has had a very, very good game.
South Africa are going to finish their World Cup campaign with a bit of a flourish. They're deep inside the England 20-metre mark.
I think I'm hearing all kinds of not very nice comments from... we're sat right in the middle of all the supporters. It's very, very lively down here, and some of the comments, it's a good job we can't put them live on air.
It's been a lively day. We're in the final moments here at Headingley. And that's a good tackle, and England have got possession, and there's that man Clark, first to respond and react immediately, Phil Clark. What a great game he's had tonight.
He looks sharp, he looks alert, doesn't he? Man of the match, Nick Pinkney. Well, whoever's picked that man of the match must be watching a totally different game than what I've been watching, because Phil Clark has been the man of the match by a mile.
We've got a stoppage, we're already into injury time. We've got two England players, we've got an England player down, Mick Cassidy, and that might be cramp. We've also got a South African player down just to the right of the picture, and we're deep into injury time. He's obviously been given, I would suspect, the man of the match award because of that second try he scored.
Well, I think it was a very, very good try, but I think over 80 minutes, I think Phil Clark has done himself justice. He's not only played well, he's led the side. There's Tony Fisher. This is his last game in the tournament as South African coach. He'll go back, he'll be happy with what they've done, and so will South Africa. Although they've been the whipping boys for everybody in the tournament, again, they've competed and they'll come back stronger and better.
Well, if the scoreline stays like this until the final hooter, it'll be the least points they've conceded. Fiji got 52. England at the moment have 46. Australia, of course, got 86. So, as you say, it might not be all doom and gloom. Let's just hope they can carry on and make a bit of progress.
I don't think that's the nicest thing to have shoved up your nose, is it, that smelling bottle? I mean, when you get two whiffs of that, it's liable to knock you out unconscious. There's a lot of these South Africans, they've got lovely run and shiners, haven't they?
Yes, they have. He looks very, very groggy, doesn't he? Gideon Watts going off.
It must work, that bottle, mustn't it?
Oh, he's staying on. Well, he's only got a couple of minutes. I'm not quite sure. I think he maybe assumes he's back in South Africa at the moment. We're into injury time here. Don't forget that big game to come tomorrow night in Swansea. Another injured South African goes down as Horton plays the ball to himself. Can England get the 50 up? We're in the closing stages. We're deep in injury time at Headingley. And that big game to come, Wales against Western Samoa tomorrow night here on live TV. Don't miss that. There goes Goulding, charges forward. The two number 7s combining there, and it was a South African who came up with the possession.
I think Bobby Goulding can be proud of his night's work. I think he's had a reasonably good game, hasn't he? And followed by Clark and Radlinski. There's been some decent performance, Pinkney. I think we just lack a little team effort.
It's been a bit disjointed at times, but England, the third World Cup match, the third victory. Are we asking a touch too much?
Well, it is a nice feeling for England to be in this position. We're normally the whipping boy for a lot of teams, but we've competed well in the tournament, and we're in the semi-final, and who knows, anything can happen from there.
For the second time in a week, they'll have kept a clean sheet. There's the bomb. Some work still to be done. Radlinski, absolutely brilliant. And look at the break, he's off. Radlinski is off right down the centre of the field. What a way to end the game for the Wigan youngster. Just to round it up then, England the victors against South Africa by 46 points to 0. Nick Pinkney with 2 tries, took the man of the match honours, but it was Phil Clark who had a stormer. 8 tries in all, 2 for Pinkney, Horton, Goulding, Sampson, Broadbent, Rudlinski and Smith the scorers. 7 goals for Bobby Goulding. And England, of course, in the semi-final before this game. Not an impressive performance, but nonetheless, a victory for England. We'll be back with reaction after this break.